Good morning and welcome to WION. And we were talking about Uttar Pradesh, and now I'm joined by Vinod Sharma, political editor of Hindustan Times. And coming straight to you, sir, without hitting on the headlines because our reporters out there reporting, my first question to you is, what is your big take when it comes to Uttar Pradesh?
You know, I have some questions which I am seeking to find answers to, First of all, when you look at the caste breakup, if we were to go by the identity pull that the voters get driven by at times, then I want to ask myself and also other people as to which is the social base on the strength of which the BJP is entering the fray this time. This is an area where the Jats, the Dalits and the Muslims dominate. And the Jats today are disenchanted with the BJP. It's very well known. The BJP itself knows it pretty well. And the reasons for those are obvious. That is that their demand for reservation has not been met, that there has been a leadership choice in Haryana at the expense of a Jat community leader as Chief Minister of Haryana. And then, of course, even in Rajasthan, which a fact that even brought the Congress to grief in Rajasthan was that it never gave a Jat Chief Minister to that state. And there has been a demand as old as the hills in Rajasthan for that. So the Jat community today is in search of a sinecure of power which can give them a sense of belonging. And the Jats don't have a leader. And that is why Ajit Singh, even in his diminished form, is the tallest leader of the Jats today. And he is making a connect with his constituents by invoking the memory of his father, late Charan Singh, whom I rate as the second most important leader in the Indo-Gangetic plains after Indira Gandhi, because he made three communities sit under one umbrella.
So I think that's a very relevant point, but let's go across to a couple of bites which we are getting. I think Shrikant Sharma from Mathura is addressing the press.
लोकतंत्र का पर्व है और उत्सव की तरह लोकतंत्र में चुनाव को लोग मानते हैं। परिवर्तन है, बदलाव का ये चुनाव है और ये बीजेपी का नहीं बल्कि ये उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता का चुनाव है। जनता बदलाव चाहती है, लोग सुशासन चाहते हैं, विकास चाहते हैं, अपराध, भ्रष्टाचार और जो बलात्कारियों को संरक्षण देने वाले हैं, भूमाफिया, खनन माफिया, लोग इनसे मुक्ति चाहते हैं।
So that was Shrikant Sharma, sir. Coming back to the point, you were saying that he got
we were on the question of
three communities together, but I would add something to it. Charan Singh was a Jat who was a farmer's leader, but Ajit Singh portrays himself to be a farmer's leader but does not go beyond the Jats.
But there is a difference in these elections. Post demonetization, all the issues for which Charan Singh stood for have become relevant once again in Western Uttar Pradesh. Why is it that the level of distrust that existed in 2013-14 between the Jats and the Muslims, why is it diminishing? Because they find themselves on the same side of the receiving end post demonetization. The farmers have been hit by demonetization, and the ancillary industry that depends on the farm sector and is controlled by the Muslims has been hit by the demonetization. And that is where there is an economic platform for the two of them. Mind you, in the early 90s, when there was a systematic effort to deconstruct the trade unions, which were a bipartisan forum for all communities to assemble for right to association and collective bargaining, that when those trade unions, which had their downsides, of course, were dismantled and deconstructed, that you had a proliferation of small parties based on identities and other things, getting a bigger traction with the people, because the right to association and collective bargaining is a natural human instinct. Now, here is a situation, my dear friend, in Western UP, as I see it, there would be smaller issues on play, there would be personalities on play, there would still be identities on play, but there is a big issue on the table today that is of common economic distress, where people are getting together to, forgetting their past differences, to make a pitch for a better deal.
We have got a colleague, Raghavendra, in Muzaffarnagar, and before you came in, I asked the same question to him. Raghavendra, we have got Mr. Sharma in the studio, and he says that because of demonetization, both the Jat and Muslims are together when it comes to the receiving side in terms of the consequence of an economic policy. Do you feel the same, or you think that the fault lines exist?
The fault lines definitely exist, Kartikeya, but as I was saying a while back, the fault lines are very much there, but only as an undercurrent. That's the sense we are getting on the ground. You talk to people on the roads, and they are not really talking about what happened in Muzaffarnagar 3-4 years back, and the communal tensions and the divide which really engulfed this area. That is something which people appear to have moved on from. There are voices, people tell us that some degree of tension has always been a part of this area because of the fact there is a sizable Muslim community living in this area, and skirmishes have been a part and parcel of their day-to-day living. But the real tension which enveloped this area a few years back, it is not something that is defining the narrative here as of now. The narrative appears to have moved to the development works which the incumbent government has done. There appears to be quite a lot of support for the Samajwadi Party. Akhilesh also appears to have got some degree of sympathy amongst the voters following the internal troubles he faced within the party. The sentiment on the ground is that here is a young leader, here is a young chief minister who was trying to do a lot to improve the fate of the masses, but he was facing troubles from within his own party and even from his own father. So the sentiment appears to be a very sympathetic attitude towards Akhilesh. People talk about the various development works he has brought to their areas. People talk about the ambulances he started. People talk about the water tanks he has got constructed in village after village. So the sentiment, the overriding sentiment is about the narrative is about development and the works undertaken by the government, and the communal tensions and all those things appear to have been relegated to the back seat as of now.
So that's Raghvendra Rao. Thank you so much for being with us. And as the first phase of polling underway in the western Uttar Pradesh, our correspondent Jessica Taneja spoke to voters in Noida. Take a listen.
Now, last year, interestingly, the female voter turnout in Uttar Pradesh, first phase of the polls was 60%. Interestingly, more than the male voters. And right now, I'm going to get a bit of perspective from some of the female voters here who've come out to give their support to what the leaders that they want to select for the upcoming elections in the state of Uttar Pradesh. So right now, I'm joined by Meena Kumari. Meena ji, ये बताइए आज काफ़ी सारे फीमेल वोटर्स दिख रहे हैं यहाँ पे।
हाँ जी दिख रहे हैं, लेकिन यही है कि सब चाहते हैं कि हमारे देश का विकास हो और हम सब वोट डालें, और जिसको जो पसंद आए उसके अनुसार सब वोट डाल रहे हैं। और यही इच्छा है हमारी, जो हमारे देश का विकास करें उन्हीं के साथ हैं हम तो। और सब इसीलिए फीमेल ज़्यादा, क्योंकि लेडीज़ों पे भी ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया जा रहा है। अब की जो गवर्नमेंट आई है उन्होंने लेडीज़ों पे बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया है और सब कुछ वो कर रही हैं, जो भी सुविधाएं हैं लेडीज़ों के लिए, और सब ठीक है।
मीना जी, एक बात जानना चाहूँगी मैं आपसे, आप किसको वोट करना चाह रही हैं, किसको देख रही हैं आप अपना चीफ मिनिस्टर उत्तर प्रदेश में?
मैं तो देखो अभी तो मैं आपको नहीं बता सकती, जब तक मैं डालूंगी नहीं, अब ये पता करूंगी भाई जो मेरे मन में है।
आपके हिसाब से कौन आ सकता है? मैं ये नहीं कह रही आप किसको वोट दे रहे हैं, बट मैं आपसे पूछ रही हूँ आपके हिसाब से कौन?
नहीं, अभी तो कुछ नहीं कह सकते, इसमें क्या पता चलता है कौन आ सकता है कौन नहीं, अभी तो लास्ट में पता चलेगा ना, जब रिजल्ट आएगा तब पता चलेगा। अभी तो किसी का हम कह ही नहीं सकते भाई कौन आ सकता है कौन नहीं आ सकता।
So the polling is currently being held in 73 seats of western Uttar Pradesh out of 404 seats. This is the Jat-dominated region, considered crucial in terms of voting percentage. 73 seats are spread across 15 districts in the region. The key battles are between the Samajwadi Party, Congress Alliance, the BJP, BSP and the Rashtriya Lokdal. So my question to you is, now this is the lay of the land, the western Uttar Pradesh. The people generally are of the view that either the Bharatiya Janata Party is going to do very well, or the UP ke ladke have, really got their acts together, which is Akhilesh and Rahul Gandhi. But where is Mayawati in between? Even in 2007 campaign, there was no publicity or coverage of Mayawati. It was between Mulayam Singh and Rahul Gandhi, who had launched his car yatra in UP. But then she came back to power with 203 seats.
You see, 2017 election was predicted to me by the late VP Singh. He had returned from Uttar Pradesh and I asked him, what's your take on that election? He says, Mayawati may form a government. I said, is it? He said, yes, she may form a government even on her own. I said, this is a big statement you are making. I said, please explain. He says, today Uttar Pradesh wants to see a demon killer in power because the state was reeling under a lot of lawlessness and there was a great demand urge amongst the people to have somebody who could rule with an iron fist and put these people who are running amok like Atiq Ahmed and others, you know, Raju Bhaiya and Raja Bhaiya and others amok in the state. And he proved to be right. And I said that demon killer, he said yes, development is an issue, but there are certain emotive issues that transcend development, urges for development. I said this again is very interesting. He says, look around yourself. How many gods are there? Lord Rama, Lord Krishna. They were both demon killers. And how many temples are there? How many temples are there? He asked for the god of development, just one.
So you're saying that that's an issue again?
So it could be, no, but that was, I explained 2007 to you. In Western UP today, now Western UP is one segment of Uttar Pradesh. We'll have to analyze Western UP separately from an omnibus analysis of Uttar Pradesh, which is another thing. You see, in Western UP, if you look at the caste breakup, which is the social base the BJP has today? None. Jats are alienated. Dalits are with Mayawati, perceived to be with Mayawati, at least the Jatavs. And the Muslims have to make a choice between the Congress, Samajwadi front and Mayawati. They're not going to go with the BJP. So the big question is that what chunk of vote Mayawati takes from the Muslim constituency, which is the highest in Uttar Pradesh. Of all the caste, of all the community social groups, they are they're bigger in size than even the Jats, you know. So, what percentage of votes she takes out of this to add up to her Dalit base will determine her future, her destiny in Western Uttar Pradesh, where 73.
But then she has also very sensibly distributed the tickets. A lot of people would say that
precisely. So what I'm saying.
Or 98
so you may see tactical voting happening by Muslims in Western UP on a larger scale when compared to other parts of Uttar Pradesh. You may have larger tactical voting happening by Muslims in that, because their first preference is to ensure that the BJP candidate does not win. So wherever Mayawati's candidate is a stronger candidate compared to the Samajwadi Congress candidate, they may go with them. Secondly, there is also a possibility of the tide being determined by the younger voter. You know, a BJP leader told me the other day कि विनोद जी आकस्मक हमारे नेता और हमारी पार्टी बूढ़ी लगने लगी compared to the two young guys. And then there's a third younger guy there who looks like his grandfather, and his name is Jayant Chaudhary. And the issues that Chaudhary Saab raised throughout his life as a leader who also had a view of the Indian economy, that it should be rural-centered economy. Remember the budget he presented. It was a budget which was so deeply focused during the Janata Party rule on the rural economy. So today, how is it that the
very few people would remember that when the Congress party under Nehru wanted to pass the resolution on the collectivization of farms,
he was the one stood up and opposed.
Chaudhary Charan Singh who opposed it.
Who opposed it. So Chaudhary Saab's, the issues that were dear to Chaudhary Saab's and are associated with him are relevant today in Western UP post-demonetization. That why is it that the Jats and Muslims have forgotten their past distrust and gotten together? Because Jats come from the peasant class. The ancillary industry in Western Uttar Pradesh is controlled largely by the Muslims, which is, if a tractor has to be repaired, it has to go to a Muslim mechanic. So they feed on each other, they survive on each other's vocations, you know.
But those bonds were ruptured during the riots. We'll come back to this,
but
Mr.
then the consequence of on the local economy of the riots was also suffered by the people.
We will come back to this, but a couple of reactions have come in on Uttar Pradesh elections. Let's dip into that.
ओनली विकास चाहिए क्षेत्र को, बदहाल है विकास के नाम पे क्षेत्र, सड़कें जर्जर, सड़कें मेन चाहिए, विकास के लिए वोट है सर।
उन्नति के लिए अच्छे उसको चुनना चाहते हैं हम, जो हमारे देश की सही उन्नति करें।
कुछ चुनिंदा मुद्दों को लेकर मतदान किया। सबसे पहले महिला सुरक्षा होनी चाहिए, बेहतर कानून व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए और सबसे जरूरी युवाओं के लिए नए नए रोजगार के अवसर आने चाहिए।
So, Mr. Sharma, we were talking about the fact that the bonds got ruptured when the riots took place in 2013. Do you think that enough water has passed under the bridge that
you see, even,
at least there's a workable relationship
even in Gujarat, the downside of violence, social violence, was realized pretty fast after 2002.
But didn't affect BJP's fortune.
No, it did not. But at the same time, it did not lead to any further precipitation of a similar thing happening later. Now, this can be claimed as an administrative success, you know. But this is also, this administrative success wouldn't be possible without the sentiment getting associated with that kind of an action. Now, in Western UP, post the 2003, 2014 to 13-14 incidents, the economy got badly hit. People suffered. Jobs were gone. You see, and they don't want any repeat of that. You know, under the UPA, when they were bringing a legislation on communal riots, remember, for compensation and punishment, putting it down on a piece of paper and giving it the force of a statute. When the UPA was attempting that, Mr. Prakash Javadekar had famously said at that time, I remember clearly, and I had a brief discussion with him also, and I said, I agree with you. He said that we don't need this legislation because in the present day world, in this era of economic liberalization and a booming economy, no party can aspire to win elections by triggering riots. So Prakash Javadekar was disproved in 2014, and now the time has come for him to be proved correct, for the simple reason that the people of Western UP, and it's being reported by your correspondents also from the ground, that the issues that were relevant in 2014, sir, are not the prime issues today. The prime issue is the sustenance of people, the livelihood question, a square meal issue, Chidambaram in his speech.
So you are saying that the issues like Ayodhya, you are saying issues like Kairana, you are saying issues like Hindu exodus, you are saying issues in which the fault lines between Hindus and Muslims became visible in 2014 are not relevant to the election.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're not paramount issues anymore. They may be relevant to a section of the people, but they're not the prime issues which are being debated there.
So you're
Even the BJP is not doing
are different from the other issues.
Which big leader has gone to Sangeet Shom's constituency, may I ask? From the BJP side? Tell me. No, no. So BJP too has realized that this card will not play again.
Okay.
And they should understand, and they are trying to raise the development questions and all that in full consciousness that there is an anti-incumbency working against their own members of parliament. 71 of them out of 80 in Uttar Pradesh. So it's a very complex election. It cannot be described in simple terms.
Okay.
We can only sort of try and create a big picture, but that big picture maybe sometimes misses out some micro issues.
But there is one issue, I'll come back to you, but then this issue remains central to many people who stay in UP or go to UP, are from UP. The unchecked crime has been an important election agenda for the assembly polls in North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Crimes on road is particularly rampant in the state, where even the state-of-art highways are prone to it. WION's Nishtha Gautam tells us more in this report.
These are among the most unsafe highways in the country. National Crime Record Bureau data on dacoity and thefts on the highways ranks Uttar Pradesh at the top in terms of number of incidents. The State Crime Record Bureau's 2015 data records 2,250 reported cases of robbery across UP's highways and roads. Formally inaugurated in 2012, the Yamuna Expressway is a 165-kilometer long control access highway connecting Delhi and Agra. While the expressway has considerably reduced the travel time between the two cities, increasing crime is beginning to worry commuters.
How
often do you travel on the expressway?
2 to 3 times in a month.
And do you travel in the day or do you travel in the night?
Mostly in day. And I don't prefer in the night.
Despite CCTV cameras, expressway security patrols and SOS booths, the highway remains unsafe. Something that is evident from the warnings pasted at toll collection booths. While crime continues, the police say that they are taking steps to address the problem.
There have been some incidents of road robberies, but as compared to 2015, the arrangements have been strengthened and the number of incidents of road robberies have come down in 2016. We are sensitive towards the security of this expressway, and we have been taking action against the criminals who have been operating in the past.
However, the numbers that the authorities are providing do not account for the many unreported cases. Moreover, there is an urgent need for improved coordination between the police stations in different districts. In addition, technology breakdown is a matter of grave concern. The UP government's flagship police initiative, UP 100, relies heavily upon mobile connectivity.
If I need somebody's help, I just take out my mobile and find the network most of the time not available on Disper. So this is also one of the reasons I'm really, a little bit afraid of traveling these places in the late night.
The sporadic nature of criminal activities on Yamuna Expressway, compounded with underreporting, may instill a false sense of security in commuters' minds. A highway that connects some of the most important cities of North India certainly deserves a lot more attention from all the stakeholders. Nishtha Gautam from Yamuna Expressway, WION.
Mr. Sharma, this is the first election which also amazes me. This is an election which is not being fought on the work done by Akhilesh Yadav. This is an election where incumbent is fighting for the future of the state. The whole fight between BJP, BSP and Akhilesh Rahul Gandhi is about what they intend to bring. It is not what they intend to do. So my question to you is, whether scripted or unscripted, the drama which took place within the Yadav Parivar had an impact on UP elections?
It has helped Akhilesh. Akhilesh today has been able to dilute whatever anti-incumbency he could have been there against his government. He's come across as some kind of a latter-day Arjun, who fought his own relatives for dharma. And, I don't know whether this is the right analogy, but it makes sense to me, because as I quoted Mr. VP Singh, we do get driven by our own cultural ethos at times without realizing, and there are certain stories with which we have grown up, the whole of India has grown up. And those stories stay with you, that they have an abiding impact on you.
Shivpal, you have no Mulayam.
So
the famous campaign slogan,
these were the people.
Jiska jalwa kaayam hai, uska naam Mulayam. It's not there.
These were the people associated with things that were going wrong vis-a-vis the Samajwadi Party in terms of its image amongst the people. Today, you have in Uttar Pradesh, my dear sir, look, the leaders who governed Uttar Pradesh or had influence in Uttar Pradesh, especially amongst the backwards and Jats, were all understudies of Chaudhry Sahab. Whether it was Devi Lal, whether it was Mulayam Singh Yadav, they were understudies of
Nitish Kumar, Lalu Prasad Yadav.
Even Karpuri Thakur. And Chaudhry Charan Singh's influence travelled from Haryana right up to Bihar. He was the greatest leader of the Indo-Gangetic Plains after Indira Gandhi. Because of the social combine he could manage under one umbrella, backwards, Jats and Muslims. That was squandered by Mr. Ajit Singh. And today, he is invoking Charan Singh, saying that, look, the wrongs done to me, the house where Charan Singh spent his last days, I was dispossessed of that bungalow, that I was dispossessed of, they even cut my electricity, which is true. And if there is nobody, if I can't defend myself, how can I defend you? And where are the Jats going to go? Which party is going to take care of their interests, And that is having a degree of traction with the Jats. Even the Jats who are agitating in Haryana, they have made a call that, vote to make your party win. And where you can't make it win, vote to defeat the BJP.
Okay.
This is what they have said.
You're talking about the power of vote. There is a village in Mathura district called Majra where people have actually boycotted the elections. Let's take a look.
हाँ जी हाँ जी बहुत सी समस्या है, तारों का जर्जर होना, कच्ची रास्ते हैं और इस गांव में चेक नहीं बटे हैं, सारे गांवों में चेक बट गए। तब से मतलब देश आज़ाद हुआ, समस्या ही समस्या, इसमें कोई समाधान ही नहीं हुआ है, यहाँ कोई देखता ही नहीं है यहाँ।
A final reaction from you, sir. Is crime not an issue in Uttar Pradesh?
Yes, of course it is.
If crime is the issue, then how come Samajwadi Party is not being evaluated from that parameter?
Because Akhilesh, in the perception of many people, has sorted those people out who were responsible for that kind of situation, who would patronize these characters. Meerut saw a major danga, and there was some kind of a godman or who had who was protecting them in the Samajwadi Party, not Akhilesh Yadav. So here is a very unique situation where a person who has ruled for 5 years has become a hero or has acquired a new image, has come into a new avatar by fighting his own kin, by fighting his own bloodlings. He has done it out of sheer political expediency. There's no doubt about that. But also, mind you, that Akhilesh, Rahul Gandhi and Jain Chaudhary are new age politicians. Akhilesh was mocked at, oh, you conceded so much to the Congress. The talks were going on from the period before he was sure about the cycle symbol being given to him by the Election Commission. And there was a division of the cake, so to speak, between the two parties, because both needed each other. When he got the cycle, even then Akhilesh thought that he needed that kind of an alliance. And it's an unprecedented alliance, which brings to realization the advice tendered by two prominent anti-Congress figures of India's post-independent history. The late Madhulimai, who in '95 wrote a 2-page article in my newspaper saying that this is about time to give up anti-Congressism to fight communalism. And E.M.S. Namboodiripad, who died the very day Atalji was sworn in 1998, if I remember correctly, as Prime Minister. He died the very day. He wrote a three-piece article in People's Democracy making the same point. So today, you have a Samajwadi Party that was reared on anti-Congressism, joining hands with Congress towards an objective, which is of defeating the BJP, which unfortunately has come to symbolize communalism, largely on account of what happened in Western UP over the past few years, ever since it came to power, or even before it came to power.
I think that's a relevant point, but one has to see whether it works or not. It didn't work in Bihar. It didn't work in Bihar. BJP tried to ratchet it up to a different level in the last two phases, but
BJP unfortunately, and perhaps they realized their mistakes later. In politics, everything is fair in love and war, as they say, so one can't really hold it permanently against a political entity. They are there to win election, retain power, and they're going to do anything possible to do that.
I think that's the point you have made, but I think we are really falling short on time. We'll keep an eye on this story, but it's time for a short break.